Today, we are diving deep into a story that has it all: high-stakes espionage, a secret military trial, and a massive diplomatic showdown that went all the way to the highest court in the world. This is the story of Kulbhushan Jadhav, a case where one man's life became the explosive flashpoint between two nuclear-armed rivals. Before we even get into the details of the main story, I want you to hear this. These are the haunting words of an alleged Indian spy, Ravindra Kaushik, who died in a Pakistani prison. This quote, man, it just cuts right to the bone, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that lonely, terrifying world of espionage, that deep fear of being abandoned, where the very country that sent you might just turn its back when you get caught. And you have to understand, the Jadhav case didn't just come out of nowhere. It's really just the latest chapter in this long, grim history between India and Pakistan. You look at these names: Kashmir Singh, who was locked away for 35 years, Sarbjit Singh, who died in prison. The shadow war has a real human cost, and each one of these cases was its own diplomatic crisis. Okay, so here we go. It all kicks off on March 3rd, 2016. Pakistani authorities make a huge announcement. They've arrested an Indian national named Kulbhushan Jadhav. And the location here is super important: Balochistan. It's a province where Pakistan has, for years, accused India of stirring up trouble. So this arrest, it was like throwing a lit match into a room full of gasoline. The charges were about as serious as they get. Pakistan claimed Jadhav wasn't some random guy. They said he was a serving commander in the Indian Navy and an agent for India's intelligence agency, RAW. They accused him of running a network of espionage and sabotage to destabilize the country. They even released a confession video, though India immediately fired back, saying it was clearly coerced. And then, just about a year later, things went from bad to catastrophic. On April 10th, 2017, a Pakistani military court, meeting completely in secret, found him guilty and sentenced him to death. All of a sudden, this wasn't just another spy story. It was a countdown to an execution, and diplomatic relations just absolutely went off the rails. So, with a man's life literally hanging in the balance, the whole focus of the fight began to shift. It wasn't just about diplomacy anymore. It was about a much bigger question, a question that would take this case to the world stage. Was the trial that condemned him to die even legal in the first place? And this is exactly why international law experts get so nervous about military courts. I mean, think about it. They aren't independent. The judges are military officers, part of the government's chain of command. There are no public hearings. You often can't appeal to a regular civilian court. And you might not even get a written document explaining why you were found guilty. It's basically a black box. And while this was all going on behind locked doors, India was desperately trying to get anyone, through those doors. How many times did they ask? 16. That's how many times India officially requested consular access to Jadhav, and every single time Pakistan said no. That refusal, that became the absolute heart of India's legal fight. So this brings us to the one critical right that this entire international standoff was really all about: consular access. It sounds kind of technical, I know, but trust me, it's a right that is designed to protect every single one of us if we're ever arrested in a foreign country. Put simply, consular access means you're not left to fend for yourself. It means someone from your home country can visit you, make sure you're okay, and most importantly, help you get a lawyer. It's been called one of the minimum guarantees for a fair trial. It's not a luxury, it's a lifeline. Okay, and this is where the legal chess match really got interesting. India pointed to the Vienna Convention, right? It's this huge global treaty that basically everyone has signed, including Pakistan. And it says consular access is mandatory. But Pakistan came back with a different document, a 2008 bilateral agreement just between them and India. They argued that for spies and security cases, that agreement gave them the right to decide on a case-by-case basis. But here's the thing, and this is such a crucial point in international law. You can't just make a little side deal with one country to get out of a promise you made to the whole world. A bilateral deal can add rights, sure, but it can never, ever take away a fundamental right guaranteed by a global treaty like the Vienna Convention. And that idea became the rock-solid foundation of India's case. At this point, all the back-channel talks had failed. The execution clock was ticking louder and louder. India, facing this total brick wall, decided to do something almost unheard of in a dispute like this. They took Pakistan to the World Court, the International Court of Justice, the main judicial body of the United Nations. Think about that for a second. This wasn't just a political squabble anymore. This was a formal legal case being argued in front of the world's top judges. The stakes just could not have been higher. So India's first move was to ask the court for provisional measures. The best way to think about this is like the court's emergency brake. It's a legally binding order that says, everybody stop, freeze everything right where it is until we can figure this out. And that's exactly what the ICJ did. It slammed on the brakes and ordered Pakistan to halt the execution. Jadhav's life was saved, at least for the moment. So, after years of legal wrangling, the final judgment finally came down in July 2019, and it was a massive win for India. The court ruled by a huge majority that by denying consular access, Pakistan had flat out breached its obligations under international law. No ifs, ands, or buts. Now, the court didn't order Pakistan to release Jadhav, which is what India had really hoped for, but it did something else that was absolutely critical. It ordered Pakistan to carry out an effective review and reconsideration of the entire case. What that means is the secret military verdict could no longer be the final word. The whole process had to be re-examined. So what does this all really mean in the grand scheme of things? Does a ruling from a court in The Hague actually change anything in the deadly, shadowy game of espionage? While the Jadhav case is a true landmark, it sends a powerful message that fundamental human rights, like the right to a fair trial, apply to everyone, even someone accused of being a spy. It shows that international law, even between bitter rivals, can act as a critical guardrail, pulling everyone back from the edge. It basically drew a line in the sand, defending basic human dignity from the shadows of secret military justice. And it really leaves us with a huge question. In a world of secret wars, can the law truly keep the peace?